at the very outset, I express my sincere thanks to Professor Joshi and Madam Achole for inviting me to have interaction with you on the issue of or on the topic of new areas or new avenues of PG courses and even research area. Actually, um, almost all universities, whenever we decide to reform or reframe the syllabi, we check the syllabus of or curriculum of other universities, and very frequently we come across that the Department of English keep on moving around the same areas, such as, and broader areas we can check like centuries, various centuries of English literature, the major writers and major trends and major movements and major schools, major genres uh, from particular literature such as English literature, 16th century, 17th century till 19th century we come. These are the favorite courses. Then some of the courses are devoted to Indian literature in English. Some of the courses are devoted to American literature in English. Some of the courses are devoted to socio-linguistics or phonology. Okay. So these are our, or ELT, mostly ELT, English language teaching. These are the favorite areas, or these are the comfort areas of the syllabi drafting committees or syllabus reforming committees, and even students to feel comfortable with these kind of topics only. And if any new area or if any new idea is suggested in syllabus, the teachers are also not willing to go for the new avenues, because a lot many problems are pointed out there, whether books are available, reference books are available, whether students will be able to get it, and what will happen if the students take their mark memos at the time of their interview, and the colleges, when they check the mark memos and when they check the titles of the courses, they say, oh, this is altogether new, we don't teach this, and what's the use of this paper and that paper? So these are certain, non-real things that keep us away from introduce my experience and my university syllabi, that being BOS chairman and even being the head of autonomous department or autonomous school of the university, uh, since 2015, I got an opportunity to introduce new avenues for the research and PG courses, and that has benefited us a lot, because every year the feedback of the students gives us the input that introduction of these new courses have made them comfortable even for preparing for their net set, even for preparing for their PET exam, and even when they appear for the interview, they can talk about new area whenever they are asked during their interview, what is your favorite area or what topic you would like to speak about, and then they refer to a new area which is not otherwise used by the other PG students or suggested by the PG students. So that creates a different impression. And initially, our teachers too were very, not very, but little unwilling to accept these new papers. But then when I asked them to come out of their comfort zone for keeping pace with the changing situation. When we are talking about globalization, how far we are going to teach only Shakespeare and only Sylvia Plath and only William Tennessee and only E.M. Forster or only G.B. Shaw. We have to come out of the um, uh, comfort zone that has been established since decades. And with the introduction of CBCS pattern, we have got that opportunity to introduce certain core papers, certain skill-based papers, certain generic paper, interdisciplinary papers, and certain audit courses. And as Dr. Joshi interacted with me in the morning, and he asked me to suggest you few new titles for PG courses and for even research. And then I divided my this interaction into certain parts. See what I have done with the syllabus of my department as well as college BOS, affiliated colleges BOS. Certain papers we have devoted to traditional areas like, special poet or special author study like Yeats or Shakespeare or any favorite poet from American literature. And certain papers we have devoted for genre studies, such as autobiography or short stories. And in certain papers we have devoted to term-wise or concept-wise ideas like diaspora literature, post-colonial literature, eco-critical literature, popular literature, okay? And certain papers we have devoted to interdisciplinary areas, and certain papers we have devoted to skill-based areas. So this is how we have divided the papers into broader ideas. And these broader ideas I would like to share with you all, so that we can go for certain new ideas. As far as interdisciplinary areas are concerned, the broader areas of our traditional avenues you are well familiar with. You can take any poet, any dramatist, any novelist as special author, or you can introduce century-wise paper, 18th century, 17th century, 19th century, and you can also go genre-wise. Okay, so and then diaspora and post-colonial and eco-critical and feminist literature, Marxist literature, psychoanalytical, these are also common ones. But for interdisciplinary areas, we have introduced certain new papers, some of which I would like to talk about. We have introduced the paper of science fiction in English. Science fiction in English is a kind of interdisciplinary paper that may lead for interdisciplinary research also further. After doing their PG, the students can go for science fiction. And at the same time, this science fiction can also be taken under the avenue of comparative study of literature. You can take creative literature and you can take science fiction, and you can show the comparative analysis of both the ideas. What is the difference in science fiction and then the traditional fiction or modern fiction? That could be the area. Then we have introduced a paper related to axiology. Axiology, that is value theory, value education. What is the role of literature in English in disseminating values? How value education and literature are associated with each other. Of course, this we take care of when we even frame syllabus for first year or second year. But then it's a kind of revision, but in see what we learn as a value at the level of FY and what we learn as axiology at the level of PG are two different things. And therefore this kind of paper we have introduced. We explain them the concept of value, then value education, government commissions and education policy about value education, and what is the role of English literature in disseminating value or value education. Then we also have introduced the paper of theory of value. Now see, value theory is related to philosophy and theory of value is related to economics. How theory of value has brought change in social mind. Value theory of value is related to economics, and therefore you can study novels like Hard Times. So this is also again another productive ground for comparative study of literature when you compare value theory and theory of value through different texts. So that could also be interesting paper for PG and for research even. Then the recent trend, interdisciplinary area in PG courses and even research is film and literature, adaptation theory. You can take certain films, adapt it, and then certain texts, and then you can have the comparative study. You can tell the people the theory of adaptation and how this theory of adaptation could be applied to select. We have introduced this paper, and we last time we selected Guide and Pygmalion. This time we have taken Life of Pi and Namesake. So we teach them what is script writing. Now this interdisciplinary paper is useful for students particularly to get hybrid jobs. Jobs in media, jobs in digital field, jobs in film industry, job in TV and wherever there is script writing necessary. If the students are familiar with the concepts in adaptation process and script writing, they can take a 6 month writing and even translation so that the students can get the job of writing the subtitles, translating the subtitles for movies, for serials. Okay, so film and literature is that a very multi-purpose course for the students of PG. They can even go for research in this area after doing their PG. Then another interdisciplinary PG course could be journalism and language, English language. How the journalistic style owns language skill to get job in media, And again, we have introduced a complementary certificate course of translation studies and proof checking in Marathi, Hindi, and English, so that by doing that course, students can get job in media even or in advertising agencies. Then we can also introduce the paper like journalism and literature. Particularly, we can select the writers who have journalistic writing style in their literature, just as Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway himself was a journalist, and his writing is journalistic style, well known, for which he is appreciated uh, as writer. So you can do that. Then we can select post-colonial literature, under which again we can go for the avenues in archaeology and literature, particularly post-colonial literature and post-modern literature or modern genre of novel. Because unlike traditional novel, modern novel varies. Now, if you read the novels by Amitav Ghosh or if you read novels by V.S. Naipaul, or if you read novels by A.K.R. Maha, you will find that these novels do not befit themselves in the traditional form of genre. So how novel itself has undergone a change and it has become an interdisciplinary activity could be the content of that particular PG course, and we have introduced that in our syllabus. Then we can introduce the paper of ecology and literature. Ecology and literature, because eco-criticism is very um, pregnant area of study at PG level also and in research also. So ecology and literature, and you can introduce different post-colonial writers because they also show the concern for ecology in their writing. Amitav Ghosh is again the best example, or you can go for Sadhu, you can go for Maruti Chittampalli and the other American writers. You can go for Edgar Allan Poe, you can go for. So you can introduce the paper of ecology and literature. Then another important area for interdisciplinary paper is history and literature. How history is rewritten through literature, which is also again post-colonial concern. But you can take any historical movement, or you can take any social movement, and you can introduce it through the literary movement, which resulted from that social movement, such as Marxist Dalit literature is there, African American literature is there, which are the results of social movements, and how these social movements are responsible for giving birth to literary movements. That Gandhian literature is the best example. Again, you can go for that. Means same old texts will be there, but they will be studied by our students from new perspective, from new area. So that we can do in this interdisciplinary area. Gender sensitization and literature we have introduced. So we can teach them the concept of gender sensitization, and by introducing few texts, we can show how literature is important in disseminating the concept of gender sensitization. So these interdisciplinary studies, now if the students go for any complementary course on gender sensitization, they can get jobs in NGOs. So interdisciplinary papers are going to open up job opportunities for students at greater level. Our students are doing like that. And they can go for the hybrid jobs. They can go for the hybrid jobs. So you find interdisciplinary area very useful. We have also introduced certain skill-based papers. And these skill-based papers are like skills for academic purpose, then employability skills and English language. One of the familiar areas is skills in spoken and written English. Then we have introduced the paper of digital writing skills, um, net lingo, that is use of English on internet, that we have introduced at TYVA level also, and also the skill of translation, project and proposal writing skill. So such kind of introductions are there, of new areas are there. Apart from these interdisciplinary and skill-based courses, we have opened up some more avenues of literature by introducing the paper of popular literature in English. Now, this popular literature in English may be Meluha or Ravana, Devdatta Pattanayak's novels we have introduced for the study of students so that they will be able to differentiate between serious literature and popular literature, and how popular literature could open up, you know, uh, job avenues or earning avenues for them. Apart from these, we have introduced papers like reflective literature in English, reflective literature in English, that how social movements are responsible for the production of literature, for the creation of literature. And we have introduced Baba Sahib Ambedkar and Mahatma Phule and Mahatma Gandhi. So apart from that, we have introduced papers like post-colonialism and post-colonial novel, comparative study of literature, film and literature, research methodology. So such kind of papers we have introduced so that the all-round aspect with the introduction of around 24 new avenues table while preparing for net set, and even paper like research methodology keeps them at ease when they go for their PhD and MPhil. So this is how to introduce new areas in our from two different languages. So you will is the limit as far as selection of new.
Doubts or queries to the guest speaker, you can. Interaction with our respected that are really important, which are some are skill-based papers, some are interdisciplinary papers. So such structure is very useful from students' point of view. And I request to all the respected members of BOS and participants who have joined us through WebEx platform. They are kindly requested to ask. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. After having Dr. Mukta Mahajan as a speaker, who has actually seen these process of framing of syllabus, then actually implementing these particular models that we may have in our mind into reality. And I appreciate her as a role because she has already narrated that she is playing multiple role in the system. So she is not just a speaker; she is a evaluator. She practices what she maybe suggests or maybe share with you. So as a teacher of postgraduate courses, as she has referred that the framing of syllabus and restructuring of the syllabus is oriented at particular NMU university towards the employability and making students equipped or helping students equipped in maybe vocation or maybe in some competitive examination and everything. But was that very smooth journey, Muktama? Having thought of these courses
Yes,
and these measures and making them real, was that very smooth journey?
I don't have the experience with the college teachers, but I can talk about my school, my department. It was not quite easy to convince the students to go for something new. Initial in the first year, the students were very, anxious. They were very worried how they could be able to do that. And particularly, I would like to talk about two papers. Means I would like to share my experience about those two papers. First is of translation. I, being a professional translator, I teach that paper. So we introduced them Vada Chirebandi by Mahesh Elkunchwar. It is in Marathi also and in English also. And we have introduced project writing for their second internal test for every paper. The first internal test, we give them questions and they write the answers. But for second internal test, we ask them to select a topic and write a project for that. So initially the students were very confused, but later on they found it's so much interesting that I would like to share very proudly that a group means we made a group of students, two students, a pair of students. So two students very successfully and very nicely completed the project on code switching in Mahesh Elkonchwar's Stone Mansion. Code switching. So it was a kind of being prepared for their research. Same with film and literature also. When we show them the movie, they do not only see the movie themselves, they see the movie first and I show it them for the second time and then I try to explain them this is long shot, this is close up, this is how the song is adding to the meaning and your perception, how you can develop your mental image, how the movie gives you visual image, how you compare the visual image and mental image. You know, when they when they learn watching movie like this, they definitely feel interest in it. Even some of my students are translating short stories, so they have found that interest. It was not easy, but once you have to come out of that comfort zone of yours first, and then if you read new things, if you share new things with students, they always welcome it, sir. Even for college also, I would like to share one experience. When I introduced the paper of research methodology for MA, the teachers were also not willing to go for that. So, madam, how can we get book and how can we get this and that and this and that? We conducted workshops for them. We conducted workshops for them. And then we invited the young generation to come ahead. The teachers who were quite experienced, they are not much willing to come out of their comfort zone. But the youngsters are very willing to learn many things, new things. And surprisingly, a young fraternity is very enthusiastic. And they came ahead and they took the charge of that paper. And now it's going on so nicely that some Pune university students visited our school, our department. And when they interacted with our students, the Pune University students learned that my department students better know about research methodology. They know the difference in verbatim quote and they know the difference between paraphrasing and summarization. That is what my students learn, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukta Mahajan. I must share this with our fellow participants of this workshop that Mukta Mahajan is in this particular session on our particular request because she is also with us in the Board of Studies of Gondwana University, Gadchiroli. So her association with our activities, though she is face to face for the first time, is maybe years long, and she is always positively respond to whatever queries or maybe guidance or help we may seek. And I'm sure the participants, those who want to ask something but they are hesitant or to ask about this in the session, they can write to Dr. Mahajan directly or through the organizers if they wish to ask anything, if they wish to suggest anything. And I'm sure Dr. Mukta Mahajan will be happy to respond to them. Isn't it, Dr. Mukta Mahajan?
More than happy, sir. I'll be more than happy.
Okay. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Joshi
very
sir.
much for inviting me, sir.
Wait for 5 minutes. Another responses from the participants. Okay, no doubts, no questions. Shall I proceed? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
madam.
Mahajan ma'am, for delivering such a wonderful lecture and explaining that how in your institution you introduce some skill-based courses so that the students can get some jobs. Indeed, career-oriented courses are the need of today. And the papers you introduced, like the papers like digital paper writing, translation papers, interdisciplinary and skill-based papers, popular literature, reflective literature from social reforms point of view, are some radical and useful papers. I'm sure our participants and all the members of BOS have got some clues or ideas that how Gondwana University should frame their own syllabi for the program that is Masters in English. Thank you very much, ma'am, once again.
Thank you,
Now
madam.
now the last phase of workshop is the vote of thanks. So today I would like to request to the head of the department, Dr. Joshi sir, to propose a vote of thanks.
Uh, Hello, here I am again to uh, propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the organizers. So at the outset, I must thank our friend, philosopher and guide, Dr. Mukta Mahajan, for sparing her valuable time with us. And she is a true academician, and she is always ready to help the academia in whatever way she can. So she is here again, and I'm sure her discussion about the relevance and the trends of the PG courses will lead us all towards the right direction. And she will also be with us in the future activities too. So thank you very much, ma'am, on behalf of me and the Department of English. I thank all the participants for their patience and their active involvement in the workshop. I'm sure in these days, nowadays, online activities has spread and occupied our life. We occupied our life. In these two, they are with us from 22nd of this month. I know personally some of us are facing personal issues, but this is not platform to discuss these issues publicly. But I appreciate the participants and their professionalism that despite the odds in their public personal life, they are in this academia for the benefit of themselves and the fraternity. So thank you all again. And with this, I hand over the proceeding towards Shilpa ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshi sir. Now, I, with the prior permission of the head of the department, declare that this third session or third day of the workshop is over. Thank you very much, one and all.